Imagine a family that doesn't age, a son forever trapped in the guise of a 7-year-old boy. As an old nurse, I've seen many things, but nothing quite like this. The family next door, the Johnsons, they're an enigma wrapped in a riddle. Over the years, I've noticed something peculiar. They don't age, not one bit. And their son, little Johnny, he's been 7 years old for as long as I can remember. His laughter, his tiny footprints in the snow, his innocent eyes, all frozen in the sands of time. Their life seems like a never-ending summer, a timeless existence. It's as if they've been caught in a snapshot, untouched by the relentless march of time. It's intriguing, baffling, and a tad eerie. The mystery of this ageless family has become my greatest curiosity. Curiosity sparked, I started to pay closer attention to them. Their routine was as unchanging as their appearances. Sun up to sundown, their activities unfolded like a well-rehearsed play, each day a mirror image of the last. The boy, forever 7, was as consistent as the sunrise, always frolicking in the yard as the first light of dawn painted the sky. His laughter, light and carefree, echoed through the quiet neighborhood, a haunting symphony of youthfulness that never faded. His parents, eternally youthful, were always busy tending to their garden. Their hands, smooth and unblemished, worked diligently in the earth, planting, pruning, and nurturing their vibrant array of flowers. The blooms were as timeless as the family, their colors never wilting, their petals never falling. It was as if time had no dominion over this small parcel of land. But what struck me the most was their isolation. Despite living in the heart of a bustling neighborhood, they were islands unto themselves. They never had visitors, never interacted with the other folks on the block. The mailman would drop off their mail, but there was never a chat, not even a wave. It was as if an invisible barrier stood between them and the rest of the world. Even their home echoed their isolation. It was pristine, untouched by the passage of time. The paint never chipped, the lawn was always immaculately manicured, and the windows sparkled in the sunlight. It was an idyllic picture of domestic bliss, yet it felt hollow, devoid of the warmth and messiness of a real, lived-in home. The consistency of their routine was uncanny, unsettling even. It was as if they were stuck in a loop, playing out the same scenes day in and day out. There was no spontaneity, no unexpected disruptions, just the predictable rhythm of their unchanging lives. It seemed strange, almost unnatural, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. The mystery of the timeless family next door continued to gnaw at me, a riddle that begged for an answer. Yet, the more I observed, the more elusive the truth became. Then, one day, I stumbled upon something that sent chills down my spine. It was a day just like any other. The sun was shining and the birds were singing their morning songs. The timeless family's little boy, forever 7, was playing outside, just as he always did. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him trip over a raised patch of earth. He fell hard, his knee scraping against the rough concrete of the sidewalk. I rushed over, expecting to see tears, to hear cries of pain, but there was nothing. He didn't wince or whimper. He didn't even seem to register what had happened. I crouched down next to him, ready to offer my help. The sight before me was like nothing I'd ever seen. There was a deep gash on his knee, the kind that would make any normal child cry out in pain, but his face was as calm as a summer's day, his eyes wide and innocent. Then before my very eyes, the most astonishing thing happened. The wound started to close, the torn skin knitting itself back together. Within moments, it was as if he had never fallen, as if the concrete had never grazed his skin. I sat there stunned, my heart pounding in my chest. I looked up at him, questions swirling in my mind, but he just smiled at me, his eyes sparkling with a childlike innocence. He got up, dusted his shorts, and went back to playing, leaving me there on the sidewalk, my mind reeling with what I had just witnessed. There was no logical explanation for what I had seen. No child heals that quickly, and certainly not without any sign of pain. It was unnatural, eerie, and utterly baffling. I couldn't believe my eyes. I knew then that something was very wrong. I had to find out what was going on, so I started digging deeper. My curiosity was piqued, and I couldn't just stand by any longer. I had noticed the oddities, the peculiarities of this family who seemed to be eternally frozen in time. It was time to delve into the mystery, to peel back the layers of this enigma and uncover the truth. I started my investigation methodically, looking for any signs or traces of the family's past. I scoured the local library and town records, flipping through dusty old archives and faded photographs. What I found was startling to say the least. Photographs from decades ago, yellowed with age, showed the family looking exactly the same as they did today. The same youthful faces, the same bright smiles, the same 7-year-old boy. It was like looking at a mirror image, a reflection of the present in the past. I found records too, old documents and certificates dating back years, even decades. They told a similar tale. Birth certificates, school reports, medical records, all showing the same names, the same details, unchanged throughout the years. It was as if this family was stuck in a perpetual loop, repeating the same chapter of their lives over and over again. The more I dug, the more I unearthed, the more baffling it all became. It was like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces kept changing shape. The family next door was not just timeless. They were an anomaly, a paradox of nature. But with every piece of evidence I found, every photograph I unearthed, every record I pored over, I was left with more questions than answers. How was this possible? How could they remain untouched by the relentless march of time? What was their secret? I was left with more questions than answers. What was their secret? I decided to confront them, to ask them directly about what I had discovered. It was a decision born out of desperation, a need for answers that was gnawing at my very core. I had to know. I couldn't bear the weight of the mystery any longer. So I walked over to their house, the same house that had stood still in time, just like its inhabitants. My heart was pounding in my chest like a drum echoing through the silence of the night. It was a confrontation I had been dreading, but knew was necessary. I hoped for understanding, for an explanation that would put my mind at ease. I knocked on their door, my knuckles rapping against the wood in a rhythm that echoed my nervous heartbeat. The door creaked open, and I was met with the same faces I had seen for years, unchanged and eerily youthful. The 7-year-old boy, forever stuck in his innocent childhood, looked up at me with his bright, unaging eyes. I asked them with my voice trembling about the things I had noticed, about their unchanging appearances, their son's eternal youth. But my questions were met with cold stares, their faces turning into masks of indifference. It was as if a wall had been erected between us, a barrier that my words couldn't penetrate. They dismissed my concerns, their words brushing off my questions like dust off an old book. They seemed to grow colder, more distant. It was as if my very presence was an unwelcome intrusion. The warmth that once resided in our neighborly relations seemed to have evaporated, replaced by an icy chill that sent shivers down my spine. The conversation, if one could call it that, ended abruptly. They closed the door on my face, leaving me standing in the cold, my questions swirling around me like leaves caught in a gust of wind. I was left feeling uneasy, unsure of what to do next. The mystery remained, a puzzle with missing pieces, a story with an ending yet to be written. Despite my best efforts, the mystery remained unsolved. Day in, day out, I've tried to delve deeper, to understand the enigma that is the family next door. But each attempt has only led me to more questions, more uncertainty. There is something deeply unsettling about their perpetual youth, their son forever trapped in the form of a 7-year-old. Their laughter echoes in my mind, a haunting reminder of the inexplicable. My heart pounds at the very thought of their unchanged faces, their unchanging lives. It's a chilling riddle that has become my obsession, my waking nightmare. My fear grows with each passing day, a gnawing unease that I cannot shake. I am an old nurse, a woman of science, yet this is something beyond my comprehension. I am left wondering, will I ever discover the truth about the family that doesn't age? Or will this mystery continue to haunt me? Y'all, we're wrapping up here, but don't you go anywhere just yet. Show some love, hit that like button. Fancy more content like this? Go on, subscribe and let that bell icon ring so you won't miss a beat. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, sharing is caring. Until next time, stay tuned.